during drills. As far as CeeDee Lamb, he was also a no-show, as Lamb also awaits a long-term deal with the Cowboys franchise that just reached over $10 billion in net worth, while owner Jerry Jones is showing no sense of urgency in playing him. Meanwhile, former Cowboy legend Deion Primetime Sanders weighed in.
I love him. First of all, you know Jerry's my man. I love Jerry Jones. I think he's one of the greatest owners that would ever live. And a lot of people talk foolishness about Jerry. Have you ever heard one of the players say something crazy about Jerry? So I'm praying that they win. They have the offense, the defense, the coordinators, they have the personnel, especially when they get CeeDee back in camp. But I'm just praying for them, man, because I think they have everything to really win that division.
Okay, S.A., before you react to that, I just have to say one thing. You know Prime's my guy, but here's my conspiracy theory.
Uh-oh.
Shedeur Sanders will be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and that's what the angling is happening here. And I could see Deion on the coaching staff. I'll just leave you with that.
Well, the former I'm going to dismiss. And the reason why is that if Shedeur Sanders is as talented as he is, he'll be snatched up before the Cowboys can get him. You know, this ain't college where you going to recruit somebody. You got to go get him in the NFL. Basketball, you get away with it because you can simply say, I don't want to go. I don't want to show up. It's a lot harder to pull off in the NFL. But part number two, with Deion Sanders being on the coaching staff, Deion Sanders doesn't need a job. He doesn't need to be on the coaching staff.
No, he just loves it.
I'm just saying he'll get a job.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he loves mentoring guys.
But he'll get a job in college. He loves college more than he loves pros, and if he's going to do it, it's got to be as the head coach. Here's the thing, and Deion is my brother, and I love him. My brother, I got to look in the camera and tell you this. I don't know what the hell you talking about. And I love me some Jerry Jones. Gotten to know him, talk to him a lot. Here's the deal. The record is the record. We ain't going to sit up here and first take and lie. First 7 seasons in the NFL, Dallas Cowboys with Jerry Jones, 11-2. Last 28 years, 5-13 playoff record, 5th worst in the NFL, no Super Bowls, no conference titles, and since 1996, they've been one and done in the postseason 8 times. The only franchise that has been worse is the Indianapolis Colts. That is not greatness. Deion Sanders, who is great. The greatest cornerback that ever lived, one of the greatest football players that ever lived, one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen in history, okay, knows a thing or two about greatness. Jerry Jones over the last 28 years has not been great. That is just a fact, and I'll leave it at that.
Deion didn't say anything.
No, he didn't.
We're supposed to react to what Deion said. He didn't say anything. He expressed his love for Jerry Jones because that's his boy, and then he says that he hopes to get CeeDee Lamb back in training camp. Deion didn't say anything, so there's nothing to react to what Deion said.
Well, he said you never hear players saying a bad word about Jerry Jones.
Right.
That's true.
That has nothing to do with
players love.
That's fine. That has nothing to do with him not signing CeeDee Lamb yet.
But it also is situational. When are you talking to those players? Are you talking to those players about Jerry Jones after they've just been given a big contract? I'm not going to say anything about that either then.
Let's talk to CeeDee Lamb right now and see what he says.
Well, the only thing we've heard from CeeDee Lamb was the LOL tweet in response to Jerry Jones saying, I'm not.
Which is
I don't have any
all you
sense of
needed.
urgency in terms of getting CeeDee.
Right. But my thing is this, okay? When people look at you in a certain role, that's how they judge anything they have to do with interacting with you. Jerry Jones is a multi-billion-dollar owner of a sports team. He didn't make his money with the Cowboys. He made enough money to buy the Cowboys. So he looks at employees as the help. CeeDee Lamb is the help. And so he's going to treat CeeDee Lamb like you're going to get your money when I determine you can have it. Because they're saying, oh, we're working out numbers. There's nothing to work out. You know exactly what his value is based on his production and compared to the rest of the league. There is a market that is set. You know what he is worth. So there's no numbers to look at. It's really about Jerry didn't like the fact that he didn't show up for training camp to work out. He was there, he didn't show up to work out. It's like, oh, then we're not gonna get the contract done until I say we get it done because I'm still the boss here. That's really what it's about. It's not about the money, it's not about years, it's about Jerry Jones wanting these players to do what he wants to do on his terms.
When he wants to do it.
Thank you, and that's not what's happening.
Is that most bosses?
I'm not saying it's wrong. However, CeeDee Lamb is looking at this situation like there have been other players in this organization who've come up with contract situations who were undervalued based on the current deal and they got their money. Why do I have to wait? What do I have to do to show you my worth? Then
I don't know about that. Dak had to wait. Ezekiel Elliott had to
They all
wait.
had
Tony
to wait.
Romo didn't have to wait. Jason
Tony
Witten
Romo
didn't have to wait.
I agree, though.
So there's guys, history says, didn't have to wait.
Says they did have to wait.
And also, recent history, this is the best team collectively probably they've had in a long time. Stephen A's talking about what they haven't
I would
done.
say last year's team.
Yeah.
That's last year.
And what that team,
Not this year's team.
But
if you're
those
trying to keep it
teams had
together,
is they
though.
had CeeDee Lamb. So if
Thank
you
you.
want to keep it going, if you want to change those stats that you rattled off, if you want to change the fact that you've won how many playoff games in the last 8 years, if you want to change that, you need CeeDee Lamb because that makes Dak better. That makes everyone better.
Right.
So you have to sign him at some point. And I don't think, does anyone think it's not going to get done?
No, this is.
It's going to get done.
If
So
and
then
when.
it goes back to what Mike is saying here. And Michael's saying he wants to treat them like you have to do what I want you to do on my timeline. And so now you're going to have to wait. I didn't like what you said. So this is like, it's like you're, do not make me turn this car around. Do not make me count to 3. It's punishment from like a parenting perspective. You are my child.
Yes.
You are beneath me. So now you will wait because I don't like the way you handled it. It's punishment.
We talk about the Cowboys so much. Michael, when
We
you
do?
said that when you
Too much.
said that Deion didn't say anything, the whole crux of Deion's point, this is what Steven is saying, is that Jerry is essentially beyond reproach. Like there's nothing wrong with how Jerry manages his team. There's nothing wrong with how Jerry treats his players. He is a wonderful owner, yada, yada, yada. That is incorrect. And I know that those two have a wonderful relationship, but that is incorrect. We're talking about mismanagement here when you're looking at the Cowboys. You're looking at a franchise that is operating unlike any other franchise. When I talk to people in the NFL, no one has any idea what the Cowboys are doing. How you can have a quarterback, a wide receiver, and your top defensive player all saying, hey, show me the bag, and no moves. Look at this. Projected Cowboys cash spending. They are last. They're projected to be last in spending this season, next season, and in 2026. They got the money. We know that it's a $10 billion business.
Yep.
We know that they have the bread. So when I look at the Cowboys, I just want to know what is the plan? Like what, to your point that you said yesterday on the show, Steven, which is what is most important to Jerry? Is it winning? Are you ready to make the uncomfortable decisions at quarterback, at head coach, at particular positions to guarantee that this team can take it a step further? Because it's not just they've fallen short recently. This has been 30 years of falling short.
Correct.
They are perennial underachievers.
And what is the one most consistent thing during that 3-decade reign?
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones. And so look, pride is a hell of a drug.
Or ego. Pride or ego. He's got to put something aside.
Before the fall.
They go lock and step. And Jerry Jones right now is the victim of his pride and his ego. Because if you're trying to win, which is that we're trying to win Super Bowls, we're all in. No, you are not. What you're doing is not. You can say whatever you want. Actions speak louder than words. His actions is nothing about all in.
So you disagree with Deion's point?
No, all he said was, I love Jerry Jones. I'm sure he does.
I'm
I would
sure
disagree
he
with
does.
that.
You're awfully quiet.
He said he's a great owner.
Yeah,
He's a great marketer.
He is because the
that
team's worth
players
$10
love
billion.
playing for
That's
him.
great ownership. I give you
Said he's
that.
a great owner. Well, I brought up other things that doesn't point to him being a great owner. And I also did this yesterday, and I'll do it again in front of y'all. I asked the question, and I reached out to the Dallas Cowboys. I requested a one-on-one interview with Jerry Jones. I haven't heard back. Hopefully I'll get it. We'll see what happens. Because I'm going to ask him to his face, what's his definition of winning?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't been in an NFC championship game entering your 29 years. You haven't been to the Super Bowl, obviously, in the same amount of time. Yes, you're worth $10 billion. Yes, you're on the back pages. Yes, you're leading sport debate shows and all of those different things. You've done everything but win. What's your definition of winning? Micah Parsons is due his dollars. He ain't get them yet. Dak Prescott is due his dollars. He ain't get it yet. CeeDee Lamb is owed his dollars.
100%.
When you see what Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown and Tyreek Hill and others have gotten, his market value is about $34 million per. Where's his money at? He clearly wasn't the reason you lost the playoff game. And so when you look at it from that standpoint and you see the slow roll process, and this is what, and listen, we have to say this, all right, because it's very, very important. I'm going to speak personally. How you get treated matters. The money's the money.
Yes.
Okay? Whatever you get, listen, you got a negotiation, you got a number, they got a number. Somehow, some way you work it out. But how you get treated in that process tells people a lot about how you're thought of and what you.
And that
Exactly.
creates
CeeDee Lamb,
loyalty.
135, 136 receptions, okay? 3,108 yards over the last 2 years. Leader in receptions, second leader in touchdowns, etc. And we're having this problem. At some point, it's like you sit back. You're like, nah, let this play out. What you trying to say? What you trying to say? Okay, because when it gets like that.
What do you think he is trying to say? Why do you think he's?
What I'm saying
No,
to
but
you
I'm
is-
asking, why do you think he's doing this with?
Well,
with you
again,
guys?
Jerry Jones did this, and I brought this up yesterday too. Jerry Jones did this to Emmitt Smith. That's why you saw Emmitt Smith speaking. Don't you notice that every time there's a contract dispute, somehow, some way, Emmitt Smith finds himself in front of a camera?
Because he remembers how he felt
Because he remembers.
going through it.
1993, Dallas Cowboys, reigning defending Super Bowl champions. Emmitt Smith, leading rusher in the NFL, big time, Super Bowl champion. And Jerry Jones had that man holding out, and it was only after they went 0-2 and Jimmy Johnson strolled up to the post-game press conference and just threw his, didn't say a word to reporters, just threw his hands up like, that's when
Yeah,
Jerry
so
Jones
why
signed.
do that song and dance if you're going to ultimately play that?
Again,
That's what I'm
because
curious.
it's called cartel behavior.
I would say it's called power.
It's called cartel
Jerry
behavior.
Jones has the power, and
Yep.
he's using the power because he's had it. So if you're going to ask Jerry Jones what the definition is of winning,
Right.
ask Deion what the definition is of being a great owner.
That's right.
Because his criteria might
Totally.
be different than what
Great
our
question.
criteria is.
Totally right, Nicole.
Great
Yeah,
question.
totally right. And that's really what this comes down to. But there's moments like that. If you're a player, yeah, Jerry Jones does this, but Eves brought it up a few minutes ago, and I brought it up yesterday. We know certain players he didn't do that to. And they didn't perform like these brothers.
Exactly.
Why are you doing it to them? But he didn't do that to Tony Romo. He didn't do that to Jason Garrett. He didn't do that to a few players. What you doing it to them for? It's a legitimate question. Again, I got mad love for Jerry Jones. I really do. I'm very fond of him. But I would ask him that question to his face because it gets to a point where it's time to answer those questions. It's CeeDee Lamb. You see what the market bears. You're projected to spend $30 million less than any other NFL team, even though you're worth twice as much as the average team is in the National Football League at over $10 billion. What's up? That's a legitimate question that Jerry Jones has an obligation to answer regardless. And when Deion said he's a great owner, this is the part though. There are a lot of things that Jerry Jones has done off the field for guys off the field.
Yeah, former players for sure.
I mean, my Lord,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things he's done, which is where the love comes from.
But we have to
Which is where
remember
the love comes
That's
the
Kevin.
term owner is owner of a business.
Right.
So from a business standpoint, he's been exceptional for himself and the entire league. But he also has a role in the front office as the leader of the front office personnel-wise. That's where he's fallen short because he hasn't won a championship. He hasn't put together a team that could even get to the NFC Championship game. So that's where you have to measure him on as well. The question is for him, is your ego more important than the results on the field? If you look at the best owners in sports who won championships, they don't get caught up in their ego. Bob Kraft, he was a billionaire before he bought the Patriots. He didn't trip on paying Tom Brady or whoever else needed to be paid on that team to win Super Bowls. You can take to other sports. The guys who get caught up in their ego typically fall short of their expectations on the field, and Jerry Jones has done that for 3 decades.
But somebody, listen, you're absolutely right. At some point in time, you got to ask those questions. And Jerry Jones has to answer those questions. And I remember, too, we just brought up Kaepernick. We were just talking about Kaepernick and all of this stuff. And I remember when, the whole social justice issues were going on throughout our country, particularly in the aftermath of the George Floyd murder and all of this stuff. And Jerry Jones was conspicuously quiet. And I came on the air and I called him out like, yo, where you at? What I was saying was, it doesn't matter. Nobody should be telling you what you should say. But you don't get to be quiet when you look for the cameras every chance you get.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, something like that comes and you quiet. Nah, that ain't the time to be quiet. Say whatever it is that you're gonna say. But you gotta say something. You can't be quiet. And to me, he does things from time to time that really bothers me from the standpoint, like, you quiet when you should be speaking. You playing hardball with people you shouldn't be playing hardball with, and you soft pedaling stuff with people you should be playing hardball with.
Yeah.
There's a level of inconsistency. That's not good. That's not good.
He brings
Last
too much
word here,
chaos
guys.
to his own organization as an owner. too much. Unnecessary.
Kimberly, I heard you're out of here.
And with the Cowboys talk.
Me too. I wasn't supposed to talk about the Cowboys today, so I apologize to my best friend Henry Thomas.
We have 12 to 15 segments on First Take every day.
Yes.
All right. We might talk about the Cowboys. We talk about everything else, but in the end, the people speak. And the fact of the matter is, much to my chagrin,
Yes.
People love hearing
they
about the Cowboys.
love folks talking about the damn Cowboys.
I get it.
Mình sử dụng những hạt màu này, rất là nhiều màu sắc và nhiều kiểu dáng nhé. Từ màu trong, màu đục, màu lấp lánh đến màu lì, hạt vuông, hạt tròn, hạt trái tim, hạt ngôi sao, vân vân. Rất là nhiều. Mình sẽ phối hợp những cái hạt này lại, mình tạo ra cái vòng thật là xinh. Và không thể thiếu được đó chính là hạt chữ cái. Đây. Tại vì là mình sẽ làm vòng mang tên của cầu thủ NBA nên là sẽ phải cần có hạt chữ cái như thế này thì mới làm được nha mọi người. Ở đây mình dùng cái hộp này là hộp nó chia từng ngăn nhỏ một thì mình sẽ xếp từng chữ cái một vào từng ngăn. Để mình xếp vào. Mình xếp chữ cái vào từng ngăn như vậy thì khi mà mình nhặt chữ rất là nhanh, mình nhặt chữ nào và chữ đấy luôn. Rất là đơn giản. Đấy chứ mọi người mà xếp chung hết vào cả chữ mọi người đổ chung hết vào một hộp thì khi mà mọi người nhặt chữ rất là khó, mọi người phải lựa tìm chữ rất là lâu nên là các bạn sẽ mua cho mình cái hộp chia ngăn giống như này. Rồi bây giờ mình sẽ bắt tay vào làm này. Đầu tiên thì mình sẽ đo phần dây này, mình đo dây, mình đo vào cổ tay. Mình sẽ đo nó sẽ có kích thước nó dài hơn cổ tay mình khoảng 2-3 phân gì đó là được. Đây mình cắt ra. Mình cắt ra. Rồi bây giờ mình sẽ sâu kim vào đây nhé. Mình sâu kim vào. Rồi. Sau khi sâu kim vào xong bây giờ mình sẽ sâu chữ cái. Thì hôm nay mình sẽ làm tên của cái cầu thủ đó là Joel Embiid. Mình sẽ sâu ngược từ dưới sâu lên, tức là sâu từ chữ Embiid nhé. Đó. D-I-I-B. D-I-I-B. Đấy, mình sâu vào. Mọi người nhớ là phải sâu theo thứ tự cho mình. Ngược lại. Nếu mà mọi người sâu đúng theo thứ tự xuôi thì khi mà sâu xong chữ của mình nó sẽ bị đảo lộn hết vị trí, nhìn nó sẽ ngược, chữ bị ngược ấy mọi người, nhìn nó buồn cười lắm. Nên là các bạn sẽ sâu như thế này cho mình. Cứ sâu lần lượt từng cái một nhé. Tiếp tục sâu. Sau đó đến chữ M và chữ E.